Good afternoon, all of you. So myself, Dr.Suraj, and I'm a faculty at Vision for Ethics and International Relations. Okay. So today's session, we are going to have an overview of how to prepare for mains. Okay, so that's the session. In fact, the session is divided into different. I hope you have received the timeline also. If not, then shortly you will receive the timeline that how the session is going to progress. So almost all the topics which are relevant for the mains preparation, so we are going to discuss. We are going to begin, in fact, with paper 4. Okay, so that is ethics and ethics, aptitude, and integrity. So that's the paper 4. So you must have received some of the copies. Okay, so you can also refer to those papers also. Like this has the syllabus, okay, and the approach paper also. So some of the material that has been provided to you, some test series timeline. Apart from that, then how to approach the different subjects, and then you have the syllabus also. So you can refer to syllabus if you wish to, because we are going to discuss a little bit of that also. I guess demystifying ethics karke ek hai. Okay, in the last few pages, ethics, demystifying ethics, that's an approach. And then there is a syllabus. Okay, there is no need, you can read it at home also. Let me start now how to go about this paper 4. Okay. Paper 4, that is ethics, integrity, and aptitude. Is, by the way, just to have gauging the what is the composition of class. Anybody who has written the mains this year? Okay. Yes. Okay. Or at any point of time, not this year but earlier also. How many of you have done some sort of class of GS at least once? Any class. I'm not talking about Vision IAS per se. Okay, fine. So rest of the people are very new to the subject, I guess. So the point is, if you know, like by and large, this paper has been newly introduced. It's been quite a time also. I don't know whether the term newly introduced is also right, because it has been introduced in the year 2013. Okay, so we have the 4 paper with us, like 2013, 2014, 15, and recently concluded 2016. So ethics was never been a part before 2013. Okay, now why I am mentioning specifically this, because there has been a lot of debate and discussion before introduction of this paper, and there is a certain specific things that the UPSC is going to look through this paper. This is a rather non-conventional paper. Non-conventional in the sense that if you see the earlier syllabus before it got revised in 2013, okay, earlier we had nearly all the subjects that we have in paper 1, 2, and 3. So as such, there is just a cosmetic change when they revise the syllabus. Something which was implicit becomes explicit, or they have changed the some topics, some names, etc., etc. But this paper has been newly introduced because the debate was like through only checking the knowledge part, that is paper 1, 2, and 3, they are not able to judge the ethical side or the moral side of an aspirant. And this side used to be judged only through the interviews earlier time. But the interview was by and large was not sufficient, because we have seen that there are issues of corruption and there are issues of moral turpitude in aspirants. So it was a well thought process that they have introduced this paper at the mains level, so that they can find those people who have inclination, okay, for the society. Because we are civil servants, so naturally the ethics and morality is something related with public service orientation. So this public service orientation, they want to check through a written examination, or they want to check it not just through the interview but through the written approach also. So that's how it has been introduced. This is required to be mentioned because this paper is not about checking your knowledge per se. It is checking your attitude part. Okay, to summarize everything, that's a part of your attitude, whether you have a sort of inclination for the civil services or public service at large or not. Now, what has to be remembered from this, whatever I have discussed so far, is this paper is more a philosophical in orientation. This paper is not about facts and figures that otherwise you have in paper 1, 2, and 3. It's more about how do you think about the society. It is about how you interpret the society. It is about whether you can understand the different dimensions of problems or not. Say, for example, there is a debate of demonetization. Okay, you may have the economics class or other classes on that, but apart from that, we are not debating whether it was a good and bad policy. But can you also understand during the implementation, there are some of the weaker section of the society are facing the problems, and do you have empathy for them? So that's also a component. We are not saying that the policy itself, we are not debating about it. There can be another separate class for it, whether the demonetization is right or wrong. We're talking about whenever you make a policy, when the policy is implemented at the ground level, what are the problems that are faced by the public. So as a civil servant, do you have empathy, compassion? Do you have a sensitivity for the weaker section, etc.? So these sort of the things which are being checked through this paper particularly. Okay, so that's just a brief introduction of this paper. After this brief, this is required to be kept in mind because you are not going to face the marks based upon a lot many facts and figures. You are going to face the marks purely based upon how you articulating you are, how sensitive you are, whether you can able to explore the different dimensions within the society or not. So these are the aspects. Like we have like issues with respect to this radicalization and fundamentalism and etc. etc. In this context, as a civil servant, do you have a secular outlook? Do you think from point of view of a multiculturalism? Do you think from point of view of a value pluralism? So these are the aspects which are going to be checked in this paper. Now, if you see briefly, I'm discussing that although we have to just see that how to prepare, but the syllabus and this thing is divided into primarily into two parts, broadly two parts I'm saying. So broadly two parts here, that is a theory part and your applied part. Okay, theory part and applied part. Now in case of theory part, this is a core part of subject. Core of subject. Now if you see any humanity subject, you will have theory. And that's so true in case of ethics also. So here we have topics like ethics and human interface as a first chapter. So first 5 heads, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the syllabus are with regard to the theory part. Okay, so the first topic is related with ethics and human interface. Ethics and human interface. Here you have introduction to ethics in other words, and in introduction to ethics we have chapters like meaning of ethics, values, morality, what are the determinants of ethics, what are the different dimensions of ethics. So this is basically the know-how of the paper 4 and know-how of different terms. See, the thing is, by and large we have been using these terms interchangeably: ethics, morality, values, attitude, emotional intelligence. So this chapter will make you understand that although they are interrelated with each other, but there are subtle differences in the terms, and you need to know the accurate meaning of different terms. And apart from the terms, this chapter also speaks about the determinants, which is again a very fundamental chapter, because you see that in a particular society, if one religious person following a particular practice, he justify that particular practice. He justify because his determinants of ethics. He lived in a particular environment, the environment which is a narrow and parochial in nature, and therefore he started justifying his particular viewpoint. So likewise it goes with all the religion, culture, caste, region. Okay, the people who belong to a particular strata, they are going to justify their own value system. But here we have to, so that these are the determinants of ethics, but ultimately when it comes to the nation, when it comes to the international, when it comes to the humanity, you have to bring a larger perspective. But while bringing the larger perspective, you have to understand what are, why people are so, you can say that they are having a difference of opinion. why people fight with each other, why they carry the hostile attitude, why there is a animosity in the society, because this is the root cause of all the problems in the society. All the social evils is something related to the value system. So determinants of ethics will make you understand that from where the value system is originated, etc. Then another important chapter in this case is dimensions of ethics. In case of dimensions of ethics, again, this is not a science. Okay, ethics is not a science, so it is not based upon facts. Like it's not a litmus test that you repeat it 100 times, the same result will come. Ethics is more of a contextual. It is based upon the circumstances. So depending upon the circumstances, depending upon the context, you may reach to the different decisions also. So that is nothing but the different dimensions. So what are these different dimensions? That is also we are going to learn in the first chapter. So that's how it will make you feel that what is this all paper about. That's about the foundational chapter for the ethics and human interface. Second issue is with respect to the attitude. Okay, I'm just writing here attitude. Then third chapter is with respect to the aptitude and foundational values. I hope you have at least seen the syllabus once. Okay. Fourth is emotional intelligence. And fifth is moral thinkers. Okay. I'm writing here moral thinkers. So this 5 chapters are the part of the core part of subject. Okay, ethics and human interface, attitude, aptitude and foundational values, emotional intelligence, and the moral thinkers. So the first 5 words. So we have already seen what is there. In case of attitude, see, whatever the value system, just now I have mentioned there is some sort of a value system that is being imbibed. This value system is going to determine what sort of attitude you possess. A sort of a parochial attitude, or you have a broader attitude. You have that is parochial is a narrow attitude. So depending upon your value system, you have different sorts of attitude, and different sorts of attitude is a reason why there is a conflict of ideas or conflict of values. Apart from that, see, every single chapter you have to first see these chapters from point of view of theory, and then you have to apply this theory on the civil servant's point of view also. Like, what is the significance of attitude from point of view of the civil servant? Yes, can anybody tell me what is the significance of it? Because see, the thing is, if you read this name, attitude, aptitude, emotional intelligence, foundation values, these are psychological aspects, okay, or the social aspects. So you have to reduce this all theoretical framework from the civil servant's point of view also. Okay, and until and unless you do that, you are not going to face the marks. So here both the things are important. One is the theory part, to understand what is the theory and what are its application, and then application from point of view of the civil servant per se. Yes, what is the application? Why we need to study the attitude as a civil servant, and what is the relevance for the civil services? Yes, anyone? What sort of an implication of attitude for the civil services? Why we need to? Yes, please. Okay. Okay, good. Okay. Good, very good. In fact, she has said that people coming from different background. So that's very important. See what happens, every single civil servant is also a product of his context. Okay, he also has some caste, he also has some religion, he also belong to some particular region of the country, he also have the identity of some ethnicity. So while dealing with, you may tend to favor or disfavor based upon your caste, gender, region, religion, race, preferences. So civil servant, so if you are bringing this into, this is a parochial attitude. A liberal attitude is you are supposed to like be more democratic, more secular in outlook. That is one thing. Second is, in fact, this is also attitude. This, whether you are using the power for your own self-interest or you are using power for the public service. That's also important. That's also in part of attitude. If you are guided by the self-interest value system, that is what is called as egoism. Okay, so you end up in misusing the power for your own benefits. So public service oriented attitude, that is also required. That is where we see that in fact bureaucracy is being criticized for an attitude which is called as a bureaucratic attitude. In fact, bureaucratic attitude has become a prejudiced term. Okay, when I say bureaucratic attitude, it becomes a prejudiced. Why it has become a prejudice? Because the manner in which the bureaucracy has been functioning for 65 years, okay, that has led to earning this tag of bureaucratic attitude as from the negative point of view. So what is the meaning of it? Why we call bureaucratic attitude from the negative point of view? And is it true? And how far it is true? Yes. What is the bureaucratic attitude in a negative sense? I'm speaking. What is the negative sense of bureaucratic attitude? Red tapeism is a reason. What is an attitude? Social. Okay. Yes. Fine. Yes. Okay. Procrastination is one. Yes, laid back attitude. Procrastination is why? Because there is a procedure or because he does not want to do the job? Procrastination is fine. See, procrastination can be because of two reasons. One is you have a very complex procedures. You want to do something for the society, but procedure are not allowing me to do. Second is there can be an attitude and a problem also. So you have to identify both the things. Both the things are valid in India. When we see about the red tape, when we see about the complex procedure, when we see about the outdated laws, it is more of a procedural and structural part of administration. So there we need to revise also, but at the same time it does not mean, say for example, the natural corollary is you introduce the e-governance, so naturally it will be a public service orientation. No, that's the only half of the job. It's quite possible that even after introduction of e-governance, the people will not work. So something which is required at the personal level also, human level also, you need to have that passion, motivation to work for the public interest. So there are so many things with respect to attitude, and not only from point of view of bureaucracy we have to see here, we have to see also from point of view of public also. Like say for example, there was a question this year, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan has been launched by Government of India, but nothing has happened on the ground or changed on the ground. There are certain attitudinal problems, not of bureaucracy, attitudinal problems of the society, because of which Swachh Bharat Abhiyan is not being successful. So here the application of attitude from point of view of public also, okay, because when you want a successful implementation of the policy, okay, there you require all the stakeholders of that particular policy to have a broader attitude. Okay, all the issues with respect to women's problems in the society, that's a part of an attitude. That is what we call as a patriarchal attitude. Okay, so until and unless patriarchal attitude change, okay, no matter whatever the stringent laws we are going to bring, it will not going to eliminate the problems, or it will not going to even curtail the problems to a significant level until and unless the attitudinal change is there. Again, one thing is like a PCPNDT Act we have in case of female feticide and detection. We have very stringent laws with respect to PCPNDT. PCPNDT, I hope you understand. That is with respect to, that is ultrasonography and finding the sex of the baby, okay, or the embryo. So in this case, when the female child is there, there is a female feticide cases. So you have brought in law. Now, yesterday's newspaper I was reading in case of Haryana, if you have been reading the Hindu, okay, hope you are updated. So yesterday there was a news that Haryana has gone for the stringent laws. So people are migrating from Haryana to UP, and people are charging their less also. So even when you have the laws, people are finding the ways because their attitude has not been changed. So that is where you have to bring in the concepts of attitude. Next is aptitude and foundational values. Aptitude and foundational values. What is an aptitude and how it is different from attitude? What is an aptitude and how it is different from attitude? Yes? Okay, fine. What else? Interest, no, it's not more than that. Skill, capacity, okay, it's in fact interest is a part of attitude, okay. Aptitude is whether you have a capacity, ability, skills to perform something or not. So for any person to be a successful in life, you need both. That is, you need to have a good attitude and you need to have a aptitude also. That is the capacity part. That's why the chapter reads here. See, the thing is aptitude and foundational values of civil services. It means that mere aptitude is not sufficient, that a bureaucrat must be capable of problem resolving, but he will not resolve the problem, one, because he is procrastinating the things, or he may resolve not to the satisfaction of the people, or not as per the legal and constitutional basis. He is misusing the power for his own interest. So you have a capacity, but that capacity can be used in both the direction. It can be used for your own interest, or it can be used for the public welfare. So therefore, aptitude in itself only gives you the possibility, not uncertainty. The certainty will come when you have a right attitude. And right attitude you possess. Attitude is shaped on the basis of values. So there are certain foundational values. In fact, as the second part is mostly emphasized here, because foundational values of civil services. So being a civil services, what are those values that one should keep in mind, such as like transparency, accountability, honesty, integrity, empathy, compassion, courage, dedication to public service. So there are list of values. We have the list of values, such as there is a Nolan committee. Okay, Nolan committee has spoken about 7 sets of values. Then we have Administrative Reform Committee second, who has also recommended certain values. So this ARC recommendation values have been asked this year. Okay, there was a straightforward question. What are the different values or code of ethics that have been suggested by ARC? So you have a direct question. So that's again a very fundamental chapter. The fourth one is emotional intelligence. Okay, emotional intelligence that we call EI, or it has to be C versus EQ versus IQ. Okay. So what is EI? Have you heard of this term, emotional intelligence? And what is it all about? Yes, what is EI? Emotional intelligence मतलब क्या होता है? Yes, ability to control our emotions. Yes, very good. Yes, in fact, it has both the components within your own self and with respect to others also. So within your own self, see, there was a question this year, a very good question, I would say, that how do you control the anger? Now the question, you may feel that this is a haywire question, why UPSC keep on asking all such vague questions. No, this was not a vague question, this was specifically from the syllabus, that is emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is about controlling your emotions. And this controlling emotions is an important attribute for the civil servant, or for that matter any leader, or for that matter any person to have a productive, healthy and successful life. So emotional intelligence, in spite of all that, we see that, okay, this person is a very good, have a wonderful capacity and aptitude, he has a good value system, but unke saath ek problem hai ki he get irritated very easily. He is a short-tempered person. And when you are a short-tempered, you end up in taking the decision at that feat of anger, and therefore, when you take the decision, that is going to obviously harm the society in a larger context. So that is where the controlling the emotions is important at individual level. And yes, it is not about controlling the emotions at individual level. It is also about emotional intelligence, is about intelligently understanding the others' emotions also and taking the decision. Okay, this is not just about emotion. The word is emotional intelligence. It means that intelligent management of emotions. And the word management is also important, because it is not about suppression of emotions altogether, or bringing or getting overwhelmed by the emotions. Say for example, if I put this pendulum, the two extreme, this 0 emotion and this is 100. Okay, so here when we say that getting overwhelmed, something like 0, you are absolutely insensitive. Okay, जो बोलते हैं पत्थर दिल इंसान है. Okay, some like 64-year-old lady is coming to your office, she is not having an Aadhaar card and etc. etc. You say that just ignore it. Okay, because for me the bureaucracy is about rules and regulations. Okay, so rules and I will follow the rules and regulations. So that is called as this 0. That is a lack of emotional intelligence. Or the 100 is, I'm just putting it that way. Okay, the scale can be, there are various scales also. So another extreme is you sit with the lady, you started crying with them, okay, wrong has happened to you, the central government has introduced skill, but they are not looking after you, okay, cancel all the meetings because I want to show empathy and compassion. Okay, so that's in another extreme. So emotional intelligence is intelligently management of emotions. Management means it's not about just separation and getting overwhelmed, but it is about intelligently management that is in a given situation. Now, what is in this case a given situation? That rather than ignoring it completely, okay, going into the detailing, why she hasn't got it, okay, showing an empathy that she is a 65-year-old lady, okay, she is not able to support herself. She may not be, she may be an illiterate also. Okay, she is not understanding what are the documents that are required. So going extra mile. Okay, you have written a law or a rule that unless and until person possesses the documents, okay, you will not get the benefits. But you have to also ensure whether you have a foolproof system where the documents can be easily made available or not. Are you understanding? So that's how you have to bring in the emotional intelligence. In fact, this is something which I have been talking about, one of the case study that has been asked in 2016 again this year. Okay, same case study was there, that a lady destitute comes to your office and she does not carry papers, etc. What will be, as a civil servant, what you are going to do? So this is how you have to see the things in context. So emotional intelligence is that part at individual level also, and at the societal level also. And the final part is about the moral thinkers. Moral thinkers, this is a philosopher's chapter, so we have both the things here. That is in case of Western moral thinkers and the Indian moral thinkers. So Western and Indian moral thinkers, there is a lot of phobia with respect to these chapters, but believe me, this is a very generic chapter again. Okay, if they wanted to make it very specific, they would have added some more names here. Okay, like in case of your humanities, if you are having a public administration, philosophy, or pol science, or for that matter sociology as an optional, they will categorically mention the name of thinkers. Here we do not find any name of the thinker has been categorically mentioned. This only means that the focus is not on the thinkers, but the focus is on the themes, different ethical themes. So whatever we are going to discuss here in first 4 chapters, these themes have been somewhere in the past spoken by some XYZ person, like philosophers like Socrates, Plato, Aristotle. Okay, they have spoken about it. Like in case of India, Ambedkar, Gandhi, Rabindranath Tagore. Okay, these people have been talking about different values, so we have to just bring in those values. There has been more apprehension this year also, because they have asked Rawls, okay, John Rawls' theory of social justice. They have also asked about the Gandhi 7 Cs. So believe me that whenever you start with the social justice, in fact, if you need to know something more about the social justice, the first person that comes is a John Rawls. So John Rawls is not a very, very technical question. Okay, social justice in contemporary time, the theory starts with the John Rawls. Rest of the things that we call, say, Dawkins theory, or for in India, we talk about the Amartya Sen. Amartya Sen's theory is completely based upon this, the philosophy of the social justice. That is a starting point as a John Rawls. So generic paper है, इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि totally generic. Whatever you feel like social justice, you keep on writing. Okay, little bit of technical thing is required. So obviously, John Rawls is a very, very mainstream thinker when we talk about the social justice, when it is about the bureaucracy, as we have spoken about, empathy and compassion. Some of the case studies just now I have mentioned, they are about social justice. So in fact, yesterday there was a very beautiful article again in Hindu. I think yesterday, reservation के ऊपर 3 articles are हैं. So this all talking about the social justice only. In fact, that is primarily based upon the John Rawls theory, that state intervention is required in order to curb the differences and discrimination within the society. Historic discrimination, historic prejudices that have been originated cannot be automatically corrected unless and until state intervene. Now, how can state intervene? There can be a different debate. But something like what we call laissez-faire. Okay, laissez-faire, you understand that state should not intervene at all. Okay, that the time of Adam Smith, he has spoken about so-called invisible hand. Invisible hand, there is a inherent justification for the capitalist system. And in the post-globalization time, when the state has withdrew from the larger responsibilities and has made this liberalization, privatization and capital, this LPG model workable, in this context, it's all the more important, post-globalization context, that the differences, economic differences, social differences, cultural differences that are emerging, okay, some have the historic roots also, and some have the contemporary basis also. So for that, you need a state intervention in a positive manner. That is what we call positive discrimination, that we call affirmative action, etc. So those are the things which we have to discuss from point of view of the different moral thinkers. Then come to the applied part. In case of applied part, whatever we have discussed so far, in fact, this is primarily the part why ethics has been introduced. This is a applied part, that is application of ethics into the public administration or Indian administration. Okay, to put it in a lucid manner, that is we call as probity in governance. Okay, so probity in governance is an applied part. In this case, you have issues with respect to all those themes like corruption, themes like transparency and RTI. You have an accountability, Lokpal, Lok Ayuk, CVC, Citizen Charter, social auditing. Okay, so all those contemporary things that we see, e-governance. So this part is nothing but the application of theoretical framework into the Indian administration. So in fact, this theme starts with what we call today in today's time as a good governance. In fact, that was also a question this year. What do you understand by governance? What do you understand by moral governance and the good governance? So this is all the applications. So nothing that has to be re-emphasized here because we have a short of time to discuss the syllabus. Now let me straightforward come to the how to prepare this topics. Last was one more thing they have written, that is a case study on above chapters. So if you see the by and large the paper, okay, 2013, 14, 15, 16. So if you have 250, so by and large the division is half. That is 125 theory, 125 case studies. Okay, theory question, that is a direct question, and 125 is related with the case study part. Believe me that you cannot do the justice to the case study unless and until you are very good with the theory part. Okay, you may solve the case study because we have certain sense of ethics also, because what we have been, we are living in, we are a part of society. Every person is a part of society. Man is a social animal. So he has developed certain sense of ethics also. But it's quite not possible that you have imbibed all these modern, democratic, universal values within you. So unless and until you study these chapters, you will not able to do the justice. You may write an answer, but your answer may be a parochial one for the others. You might feel it, yes, this answer is a better answer because this is the really a sense of justice. But justice is not that simple. Justice is a very complex. Justice is relative. Justice is not seen in the absolute sense. So that's why we have to learn the different theoretical themes also. Okay, so that's a brief aspect of the syllabus. Now, how to prepare for it? See, the preparation, as I have said, to start with here, you need not have to read too much. Okay, not too many books. I can give the list, but that's not required also. Like say, for example, Emotional Intelligence, David Goleman's book on emotional intelligence, very famous book. But that you can read when you become a bureaucrat. Okay, so do not like be a Socrates. Okay, here you need a very balanced approach. Do not do the PhD on each one of the topic, because you will find, see, this is more possible in this particular paper because this is a philosophical paper. So you need to make it more objective. What is required from the civil servant's point of view, and how to do that? That's the biggest question. Now, when it is a subjectivity, when everything is about ethics and values, how should I make it objective? You can make it objective by two things. First, strictly following the syllabus, and second is previous year's question paper. Okay, we have now you are entered into the 2017, you will be writing. So 4 question paper is a very, very good benchmark to start. And believe me, almost all the things you will get to see here in 4 papers. You will understand what is the UPSC's perspective, what UPSC want, how much the depth is required. So you should always like follow this as a benchmark. So keep seeing the previous year's question paper, keep solving them, try and identify the perspectives. If you see that same themes are getting repeated with different questions, okay, the framing of the question is quite different, but the same themes are getting repeated. So so it will be a very easy for you to predict. Okay, in fact, in the last session where we have done in 2016 paper, we have done in the last week the whole question paper and their discussion. So please go through. I think they have uploaded on the YouTube also. In fact, in 2000 paper also has been, we have discussed, and that has been also uploaded. So it's in 2 parts, 2015 direct question and the case study part, 2016 direct and case study part. So once you have done with that, you will understand that what is the length and breadth of each of the subtopics in the syllabus. So that's the first thing, because unless and until you have this a very specific framework, how far I can expand, okay, you will not able to. Otherwise, you will go haywire and keep doing the things which may not be very useful or productive from the UPSC's point of view. So that's the first thing you should remember. Apart from that, obviously, if those people who are joining the classes, I believe that 99% things will be covered in the class. But those who are not joining the class, then they should start with something called lexicon. There is a book by Chronicle Publication. So book like Ethics and Integrity by Chronicle Publication. So lexicon, the name of the book is lexicon. Again, it's a very short, crispy book. It's like a हैंडबुक ओके अभी हैंडबुक नहीं है थोड़ा सा उसको बढ़ा दिया गया है मतलब नए एडिशन में काफी बल्कि हो चुकी है बट द थिंग इज आई बिलीव this book has been written from the UPSC's perspective. What is required for the UPSC? Only that much is given. Okay, beyond that, obviously, see the thing is you may read less, but you cannot afford to think less in this paper. You have to read less, think more, and write even more. Okay, because this paper is ultimately about how well you are how well articulative you are, whether you are able to articulate your answers specifically to the question or not. Okay, we have been seeing the papers and copies, people beat around the bush a lot. Okay, matlab introduction hi unka half page or 2/3 of answer is introduction, because they are feeling that I am not able to convince the reader. Okay, so same thing is being repeated. Because वो लग रहा है ना कि भावनाएं नहीं पहुंच गई है शायद, तो इसी को और कैसे लिखूं. And then after 2/3 of answer, you realize that I haven't started my question, addressing the question, and then you realize there are 3 parts in the question. Okay, so your introduction, this is happening particularly in case of ethics, because there is a dearth of words. There is no specificity with respect to the words, so that is what you have to do. So if you know the proper words, in fact, I would say that after a rigorous practice, you should reach to the level where you can introduce the question in not more than 2 lines. Okay, and that's possible if you rigorously practice. That's what I mean by read less but think more and write more. If you do that, then obviously you will able to fetch more marks. So that's the first book I have mentioned about the lexicon. The second book, see that in book side I'm saying. One is the lexicon book, second is the book by Aryan Publication, okay, and third is book by Subbarao, okay. All names are same, that is Ethics, Integrity and Aptitude, because these are on the lines of ethics paper. So name of book is remain the same. One by Chronicle Publication, second by Aryan Publication, and third is book by Subbarao. I don't know the publication, Subbarao book. Now the thing is, which one to read? I believe that even the lexicon is sufficient, but if you are not attending the classes and you are feeling that there are certain gaps which are left, so go for the Arihant as well as the Subbarao. There you will find more description, but again filter those things. Filter those things based upon the 13, 14, 15 and 16 paper. Have this paper as a benchmark, and then accordingly you can go for the paper and filtering this. Okay, so that's about the book side. The third thing is first I have mentioned about the class notes and this thing, if you are coming for the classes. Second is about the books. Third is about with respect to this paper part 2, that is applied part. There is a ARC recommendations, okay, that is a report number 4. So please note, ARC has given certain reports. ARC 2, ARC second has come up with the reports. So report number 4. Report number 4 reads as Ethics in Governance. Okay, report number 4, Ethics in Governance. You can have a PDF copy, but I believe that you should have a hard copy. Okay, the downloading is not downloading in brain. Okay, most of the times we download and we take a sigh of relief. Okay, now we are done. Okay, but then there are so many PDF then, okay, lined up. So if you have a hard copy, so obviously it has a different impact altogether. Now this is again a very bulky document. It's not a small document. So how to go about this ARC? First, I would say that there is a preface or the brief that is given. That has to be read, okay, because that will reflect the whole philosophy and ethics in administration overall. Apart from that, when you go to the specific chapters in ethics in administration, you can afford only to read introduction, conclusion, and the boxes. That's more than sufficient. Okay, if you are not public administration student, then it's not required to read the whole book also, that particular report also. If you can afford, you can go for it, but that's not mandatory. Okay, so that's a third reference. That is ARC, Ethics and Governance, is specifically important for your second applied part. Okay, there you have these themes like corruption, accountability, transparency, citizen charter, e-governance. Okay, again, do not go into the technicalities because that report has not been written from the civil servant's point of view. Okay, that report will have the technical aspects also, technical aspects of transparency and accountability. You can read it also, otherwise it will be useful for your governance paper too. But for ethics, principles are more important. The philosophy behind the introduction is more important. So that's how you have to go about it. So that's the third point, that is with respect to the what has to be read. The next one is with regard to the use of current affairs, magazines and the newspaper, how to use them to the advantage of this paper and whether it is really required or not. Yes, it is very much required because whenever you are writing the question in theory, whatever the abstract theory you are writing based upon this, that has to be complemented by contemporary examples. If you are not giving the examples, then certainly you are way behind with respect to the other candidates. So your answer should have both. It should have a theoretical framework why you are particularly, whatever you are answering, it is based upon certain information, and it has to be complemented by the contemporary examples. Contemporary examples, you will get it from Hindu, you will get it from newspaper, magazine, internet, whatever the things are. Once you have learned the themes, it's very easy to apply those things. Likewise, I was talking about this social justice and aspects of reservation policy and etc. So you have a social justice as a theme. You just have to remember yourself that John Rawls has talked about the state intervention. The Amartya Sen speaks about the empowerment approach. He speaks about justice as an empowerment. Okay, these are the themes that you have to apply. Like say for example, empathy and compassion. There was a case of Orissa where the husband was carrying the dead body of his wife on the shoulder. Now, after reading this, if you cannot bring the empathy and compassion, or if you can bring an empathy and compassion and write such examples, so obviously that will make your answer more attractive. Okay, it will fetch more marks. Are you understanding? So for each of the themes, in fact, this is a very strategic exercise also. Like you bring up all the themes and try and think what are the contemporary examples I can give on different themes. So this is how you have to remember about this current affairs. That is it with respect to it. Apart from that, in fact, I believe that it should start with this, that 13, 14, 15, 16 paper, minimum 2 to 3 times you should do it. It should be on your tip. It should be in your blood. I would say that it should be in your DNA. Okay, that whenever you are reading, you should be able to understand, okay, this question has been asked this, and this is how the question can be framed. If you reach to that level, then obviously you can easily predict the 2017 or etc. Or you will be always ready with whatever the nature of the questions that are being asked. You will not face any sort of problem. Okay, write also, like join any test series. If you are not joining the test series, keep writing at least 1 or 2 questions each day. First try writing the previous year's question paper, so you will get fine-tuned with nature of questions, and likewise you can frame the questions and keep writing. Okay, about the case studies, believe me, if you do theory part very properly, there is nothing like a case study separately. Okay, so many people are running behind the case study without paying a due attention to the theory part. Okay, because there are different themes. I believe there are maximum 15 themes. Maximum, I'm saying. Maximum 15 themes are there. If you know these themes and if you know the approach for each one of the theme, that if there is a conflict of interest, what should be the standard procedure of answer? If there is a conflict of interest between the personal interest as well as public interest, what is the standard procedure? If there is a whistleblowing case, what is the standard procedure? If there is right versus right, like objectivity versus impartiality, objectivity versus empathy and compassion, development versus environment. So these are the different themes which are being time and again asked in a different formats. So do not take each case study as a separate and try to mug it up each case study. There is no limit about what you can mug up. And what you can mug up, the UPSC can clean bold you with the googly and Yorker. Okay, so do not go with that approach. Try and identify the theme. Make a separate notebook for it. If this type of case study will come, these are the 5 points which I can straightforward write. If whistleblowing is there, there is a standard procedure of whistleblowing. Okay, you cannot do what you personally feels at your individual level. You may sound to be, this is very courageous, I will blow the lead, I will go into the public domain, I'll speak about it, but code of conduct says that you cannot criticize the government on a public platform. You can do so, but unless and until you exhaust procedure. Like you first complain to the senior, ask the written order from the senior. If senior is not responding, go to the higher ups. If he is not responding, go to the some vigilant office. If they are not responding, then you have every reasons to go to the public. Otherwise, if you directly go, I am a very courageous and justice, liberty, equality, fraternity, compassion, empathy, okay, you will be charged with the violation of code of conduct. Okay, so you have to balance from the civil servant's point of view. You need to also follow organizational and civil services ethics. Okay, so that is how the point about the preparation. If you have any question from your side, please do ask. Otherwise, I'm supposed to take also international relations a little bit about it. So please ask if you have any question with regard to this. Yes, please. Integrity, probity, and honesty. I require at least half an hour for that, but I'll explain it briefly. Yes, what's your question? Okay, fine.
Like you have to write the stakeholders facts
Yes,
of the case.
yes.
Is it necessary to write all these facts, or can we proceed directly to the answer?
Okay, okay, I'll come to that question also. Okay, let me start with this. A person can ask any themes, but the question is very important when we talk about honesty and integrity. That has been a large part of debate. In fact, what is the difference in between ethics and morals? What is the difference in between honesty and integrity? Honesty, when we speak about, it is about being truthful in one's action. Now, in one's action and in given circumstances does not mean that you will be truthful in all the circumstances. Like today, when I was in office, I was truthful, okay, by following the organizational rules and regulations. Okay, one sort of principles that I follow. Say, for example, any kind of a value that you can take, that is honesty, being truthful with respect to following rules and regulations. We say that he is an honest officer. But when we say that he is a man of integrity, it means that he does not follow the value in a particular situation and circumstances, but no matter whatever the circumstances are, he consistently follow those values. Now, how to differentiate it from honesty? Say, for example, the same officer which was following the rules and regulations in a given time and circumstances, now he got a call from an officer, criminal politician. Okay, criminal politician, criminalization of politics, assuming that the politician is having a greater muscle power, and he is making a call and saying that if you not grant a contract to XYZ person, you will not be there tomorrow. Okay, or I will suspend you, I will transfer you. Okay, sort of things, or harass you. और harass you मतलब harass you नहीं बोलते, बोल देते और harass करना चालू कर देते. Now, slowly, the man of integrity is one. No matter whatever the circumstances are, he believes in the values. Honesty is in a given situation you are honest or not, but integrity will give you an analysis that man of integrity is man of impeccable integrity, the person who carries the values consistently in all the situation. Okay? If you had to compare with honesty and integrity, honesty in all the circumstances is integrity. Okay, there can be a second example also. Like the same person who was following the rules and regulation, he is getting a call. Please do this job, you will get 1 crore. Okay? So it can be an inducement or it can be intimidation. So in this case also, if he is following the values honestly, then he is a man of integrity. So there can be two types of pressures. One is the muscle power as a pressure, that is through intimidation, coercion, force. There can be second, that is the inducement, a carrot and a stick. So no matter whatever circumstances are, you follow. That is about the integrity. Probity is a proven state. Okay, probity is a proven state of honesty and integrity, that there is a proven record that yes, he by doing this, he has maintained his honesty and integrity. Okay, for probity to be successful, not only a person but organization, and there are other things also which come. Like we say that probity in governance. The literal meaning of probity is uprightness. Okay, so uprightness is very closely related with honesty and integrity, but you need to have, like I have mentioned, there are structural issues also, and there are humanistic issues also, like human resource related. So probity of organization is the people are also honest and they are the men of integrity, as well as the organization is quite friendly and service oriented. Is it fine? Integrity is also defined, let me be clear, that at two levels. One is that following the values in all the circumstances consistently, and integrity is also defined at individual level also. There is a consistency with respect to what one think, what one feel, and what one follow. So there is a no gap in between thinking and practicing. That we say that hypocrisy, that we preach a lot but we follow less. Honesty only talks about your action component. Integrity talks about consistency with respect to your thinking part, your feeling part, and your action part. If there is integrity between the three of them, then you are recognized as a man of integrity. So definition of integrity goes like this at two levels. That is consistency between what one think, what one feel, and what one do. Okay, or what one speak and what one do. And consistency with respect to following the moral values in all the circumstances. So that's how the integrity is defined. So integrity is rather a big word. In fact, whatever the values that I have spoken, when we say that civil servant as a man of integrity, it means that he follows all the civil servant's values consistently. Okay. Yes, coming to your part, in case study, yes, he was talking about the model answers and stakeholder approach. Stakeholder approach is one of the approach which help you in simplifying how to go ahead with the case studies. Simplifying in a sense that what is a stakeholder approach for those who do not know. Like you identify the case and you identify different stakeholders who are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people, and then write the ethical issues on each one of them. कि इससे रिलेटेड कौन कौन से इश्यूज है, सेकेंड पर्सन से रिलेटेड कौन से, थर्ड पर्सन से कौन से, फोर्थ पर्सन से कौन से. Why it is important? Because you will not miss smaller points. You will not miss the peripheral points. If you are not applying the stakeholder approach, that's also fine. But stakeholder approach will be a certain thing that you will not miss a smaller point. Now, whether to write the fact of the case in each question, not mandatory. You can introduce in 2 lines. See, it completely depends upon question कितना लंबा पूछा हुआ है. If already the question have 4-5 sets, subsets, and you have only 200 or 250 words, so you have to squeeze your answer. It means that you should not write too much in introduction, or you should not spill all your beans in your introduction. मतलब introduction में ही पूरा conclusion तक आ गया. हो जाता है कभी कभी कि ये स्टेक होल्डर्स इन्वॉल्व है, इनके प्रति ये इथिकल वैल्यूज है, इन इथिकल वैल्यूज के प्रति ब्यूरोक्रेसी ये वैल्यूज दिखानी चाहिए, ये होगा. फिर आप लिखोगे क्या आंसर में? Are you understanding? So it's a very intelligent aspect. You have to see the question. तो ये प्रैक्टिस से आएगा कि कितना लंबा क्वेश्चन है, 4-5 डिफरेंट हेड्स है. अगर क्वेश्चन पूछ रहा है व्हाट आर द इथिकल इश्यूज ऑफ द केस, स्टेक होल्डर अप्रोच इज नथिंग बट व्हाट आर द इथिकल इश्यूज ऑफ केस. जैसे स्टेक होल्डर लिख लिया और इथिकल इश्यूज लिख लिया. फिर सेकंड क्वेश्चन है कि व्हाट आर द डिफरेंट अल्टरनेटिव्स. थर्ड क्वेश्चन है कि डिस्कस द मेरिट एंड डीमेरिट ऑफ ईच अल्टरनेटिव. एंड फोर्थ क्वेश्चन है राइट योर कोर्स ऑफ एक्शन. So if this much question is there, so there is no point in writing the again facts of the case in detail. Okay, so if there are only 2 questions, 1 question, so you can go and adopt that particular approach. Okay, yes. No, you have to practice also. 4 papers, almost all the themes are there, but still you should practice. You should practice now. From where to practice? There are I believe that you will get in the market, okay, different institutions and their papers. So you practice them. Do not go with the too much of books, because in the books the case studies that have been given as a practice, they are more management related. They are not in sync with what the UPSC asks. Okay, if you see the decision making, most of the time where the books are copy pasted from management case studies. So that kind of a case study UPSC never asks. That's why I said that go through the 4 years papers. I believe that even if you are practicing the vision test papers, okay, not only of this year but previous years, if you can catch hold on the previous year question, you will get almost a 25 case study, 25 and 25, 50 case study. 50 case study is more than enough apart from this. Okay, yes, last. What if you?
What if we have enough content to write a particular question?
Enough content?
Yes, I mean, can we quote our personal example while elaborating?
Does not see that. I don't think so that will be a more problem in case of ethics. Okay, ethics is something which we have been living with the ethics for last 25 years, 30 years, whatever the age is. Okay, so something we will obviously know about it. Now this problem can arise when Gandhi's 7 sins. This is a hyper-technical question, whether you know the 7 scenes or not, or Rawls' theory of social justice. But here also, even if you remove the Rawls, you write something about social justice. Okay, and Gandhi's 7 scenes, this is something, even if you would have heard something about it, that we do a lot many things in life. So anything that we do in life without ethics is sin. Okay, like he has talked about science without ethics, politics without ethics, business without ethics, commerce without ethics. So these were the 7 C's. Except that I believe if you know the little bit of syllabus and you are done at, I don't think so you will face this problem in ethics. You should write, okay, but if it is a very hyper-technical question and if you don't know about it, do not venture. There are a lot many voices you will see from the seniors that write something, you will fetch some marks. In ethics, you will not going to get if it is a hyper-technical question, or for that, I believe that मैकब्राइड कमीशन करके एक आया था. मैकब्राइड के बारे में नहीं पता है तो प्लीज डू नॉट वेंचर इनटू इट because that create a very, very bad impression on the examiner. And feel happy. Anyways, you are not going to complete 20 question. Okay. So 19 में वो productivity ला सकते हो आप. Okay. ऐसा नहीं है कि discourage कर रहा हूँ, but क्या हो जाता है कि एक क्वेश्चन नहीं आया तो उसकी वजह से इनसिक्योरिटी फीलिंग, रेस्ट ऑफ द पीपल आर राइटिंग, आई एम लैकिंग बिहाइंड वगैरह वगैरह, ऐसे कुछ नहीं है, चिल मारने का है. ओके, इवन द टॉपर कैन नॉट राइट ऑल द 20 क्वेश्चन. Okay, so you have to play with these tricks also, and sometimes it is better left. जैसे राहुल द्रविड़ है, better left. बाहर जा रहा है तो बाहर ही जाने दो. हाँ, okay. So this will a sort of, ऐसा नहीं है कि 5 10 question better left नहीं रहते हैं. 1 or 2 question here and there. If they are too technical in nature, you can leave those questions. Okay, but in ethics, you will not face this sort of problem. Okay. Yes. Now. Yes, any other question? Or little bit, we start now. International relations you can write. Just I'll give you a brief, because lot many sessions are about to come and we have already running out of time. So very briefly,
sir,
I will introduce.
Can I ask a question, sir? Yeah. So
yes.
You just mentioned that there are no particular name of thinkers which have been given, just like in case of political science.
Yes.
So rather you said that UPSC would concentrate on the theme.
Yes.
Theme of that topic. So
yes.
Could you just suggest some names, some names of the
okay. If you want to write, these themes are nothing but different dimensions.
Yeah.
So consequential ethics करके हैं. The focus on end. Okay. So if you want to write, you can write consequential ethics as a theme, which focuses on end principle. Then you have deontology as a theme, which focuses on means. Okay, ends and means. Somebody would say that if end is fine, then it is ethically justified. But other will say that if means are fine, then the ethics is justifiable. Then there is a virtue ethics. Okay, virtue that depends upon the character of a person by inculcating virtues. Then you have right-based ethics, rights, fundamental rights, human rights, different category of rights are there. Next is justice as a theme. Justice may retributive justice, reformative justice, and distributive justice. Okay, retributive part is about punishment part. Reformative part is reforming the criminal. Distributive justice is not related with crime, it is related with distribution of resources. Something that is related with the social justice that we talk about. Okay, that is a social justice, that is a distributive, or sometimes it is called as socio-economic justice, redistributive justice. Okay, so that's the part. Then environmental ethics, the question for last 3 years, the question are being consistently asked on the environmental ethics. Then you have something called as feminine ethics. Okay, feminine ethics, otherwise it is also known as care ethics. Okay, in contemporary times. So these are by and large some of the themes, and some of the scholars such as like Plato, Aristotle, these are very classical thinkers. So you should know. Then Gandhi, Ambedkar, Tagore, Swami Vivekananda, these are the mainstream scholars where you will get all the themes. Apart from that, I believe that if you haven't started and very fresh, you can also read the Gandhi's autobiography, that is My Experiment with Truth. It's a small book, and again you will feel what is to be being an ethical at individual level as well as at the societal level. So My Experiment with Truth is specific suggestions because it's a very small one. और थोड़ा सा मॉडर्न इंडिया भी रिवाइज हो जाएगा. Okay, and Gandhi is also very favorite of UPSC. Okay, so you will find the themes in essay, you will find in society, you will find him everywhere. Yes, religious aspect also. That's a part of see determinants of ethics. जो हमने कहा था कि determinants of ethics, whatever this value system, that comes from the religion as one of the source, family as a source, school as a source, law as a source, media as a source. So वहाँ पे भी religion का consideration है. Yes, these were the themes which are coming. Like in case of Indian thinkers, जब हम लिख रहे हैं तो Indian thinkers में Indian religious philosophy also you should know about it. Indian religious themes. ठीक है? Now let's come to the international part. Yes, any other question? Okay, international relations. Now, in case of international relations, there are different themes. Okay. Okay. Anyways, if question is there, like hold on, I'll leave with my email ID. So because we are running short of time, there are so many subjects that has to be discussed. So you can mail back to me if you have any question about ethics or IR later. Okay. So international relations, if you see, this is particularly for the mains. This was what was the conventional understanding. But these days, for last, if you see the 2015 prelims. Okay, lot many questions again came from the international relations also. So I believe that you should start preparing, not to wait for the mains per se, and start preparing here onwards. What are the, see the syllabus is mentioned, but I believe that that syllabus can be summarized into 4 or 5 different heads. First is you need to know India's foreign policy. That's the first. India's foreign policy. You read too many the Hindu articles and etc. But I believe that first you need to know what is India's foreign policy, what are the different, there are different determinants and there are different principles. What is that determines our policy? In fact, this is a very, very fundamental which we do not do, determinants and different principles of India's foreign policy. In fact, in case of international relations, these principles are very important because no matter whatever there is a change in government, certain principles are constant. Okay. And when you are writing the answers, if you are only writing the current affairs that the Obama has come, gone, this has come, gone, MOU has signed, MOU has not signed, and there are some technical names of MOU, defense, Amka Dhalana MOU, not important, okay? What is important is how defense security, you need to write the deterrence theory, you need to write how this is like mutually assured destruction, you need to write what is its dynamics. So for that you need to know the India's foreign policy and basic themes and principles. Okay, so that's the fundamental thing. Second thing is India and world. India and world. This is basically India and its relationship with world. Okay, India's foreign policy is a policy document. Okay, that's a principle, or this is the edifice on the basis of which we carry out the relation. So India and the world is practicing the India's foreign policy. Foreign policy is just principles on the basis of which we carry out our external relations. Now India and the world में इसमें जो relation है first is like India and the neighbors, because we cannot change the neighbors, and that's why we have to like very particularly with respect to the neighbors. India and the neighbors, I'm writing just and themes. Then India and the great powers. Okay, that is US, Russia, China, Europe, Japan. Okay, so these are some of the things. And then India and the region, different regions. India and different regional players. Now here you need to know the bilateral of each neighbor and the great powers. Okay, bilateral relationship में आपको कम से कम यहाँ 7 to 8 जो भी आ जाएंगे SAARC countries के bilateral relations, plus you need to have 5 more because US, Russia, Europe, Japan, and some of the other emerging powers. Okay, that's you have to do. India as the regional, India and Africa relationship, India and the Latin America relationship, India and the Central Asia relationship, India and the West Asia, India and the East Asia. Okay, Southeast Asia, that is Lucas policy or Actist policy. So that's the theme of India and the world. Then you have themes like international issues. International issues because there's a part of a global politics. So issues like terrorism, okay, security issues, all terrorism है या फिर organized crimes related है, drug trafficking and this different sorts of trafficking that is there. So that is related with terrorism. And this second thing is with respect to economics. Okay, that is particularly the trade and investment related. Then third is issues with respect to human rights. Fourth is environment. Environment, like what does it mean? It means that from Rio summit to now, what have been the development on the international context. From economics, you need to know WTO, etc. I'm writing, these are the issues only, human right violation, environment, terrorism, etc. There can be cultural issue also. Cultural, social issues also, social issues like social issues mein kya aayega? Millennium Development Goals and these days the sustainable development goals and what have been the development. So this is how you have to prepare. The last or the penultimate one is about international organizations. International organization. Now at least broadly we can divide, that is some of the political organization, some of the economic organization and other organization, other regional organizations. So what we need to know here is political organization, UN, and the issues with respect to the UN reforms. Okay. Then economic organization, we have this WTO, and then we have this Bretton Woods institutions, that is IMF and World Bank. Okay, that is a Bretton Woods institutions. Now these were the earlier era. Okay, with this context, you should also able to expand like IMF and World Bank का जो answer आ रहा है अभी जो that is rise of the rest or the equation of the power have been shifted from the west to east. So NIIB, okay, NDB is New Development Bank, or AIIB, that is, yes, Infrastructure and Investment Bank of China. So the rise of the SARC, rise of BRICS, okay, in this context. So BRICS kya hai? BRICS Bank hai, or what is called as the Asian Development Bank. So these are the new emerging themes in international relations. So this was the Cold War institutions. So you have to also understand what are this, what are the significance of these Cold War institutions, what has been the changes, particularly with respect to this economic crisis. After economic crisis, how China and India are joining hands together and coming together on the larger platform. In fact, there is a larger, bigger theme you should remember in international politics, that is North-South divide. So in fact, this North-South divide you will find invariably in all the issues, okay, whether it is an environment issue, whether it is a security issue, whether it is a UNSC reforms, WTO reform, IMF and World Bank reform. So North-South divide that exists, that you also do. Here one more issue mein ek reh gaya, that is weapons of mass destruction, particularly with respect to nuclear issues. Okay. Likewise, you have here international organization mein nuclear and security related organizations or conventions such as this NPT, CTBT, FMCT, NSG. Okay, these are the other things that you can go ahead with. So by and large, and last you can write that Indian diaspora, because this is a separate theme also, Indian diaspora. Indian diaspora. So this is how you have to prepare. India's foreign policy is a basic thing. India and the world is a bilateral relations, international issues, this international organizations, and this diaspora. Every time you have to see that what is the India's interest. Okay. In fact, in one line, India's foreign policy, or for that matter, any country's foreign policy can be summarized, that is promoting the national interest. Okay, although that's a very realistic argument to say that it's just about national interest, but by and large we live in a nation state. Okay, we are yet to culminate into the universal model or the model of cosmopolitanism. Cosmopolitanism is aspirational goal, you can say that. Today we live in an era of nation state. So nation boundaries are important and promotion of national interest is a significant aspect. This cultural aspects में आपको वो याद रखना है कि this there और एक लिख लो, मतलब अगर separate लिखना चाहते हो, international terms जैसे what is hard power, what is soft power, what is the deterrence, what is weapons of mass destruction, what is deterrence in the context of nuclear armament, okay, how the deterrence theory has been revised in the context of nuclear armament, that is a mutually assured destruction. So cultural aspects, why they are important, because these days the term which is coming is soft power. Okay, there is a lot of emphasis on the soft power. So what is the significance of soft power? In fact, you should start with what is the meaning of soft power, how soft power is different from the hard power, what is its relevance, what is India's soft power, okay, and can you give certain case studies in international context with regard to the soft power. Okay, so these are some of the themes that we call the people-to-people contact and cultural contact, etc. So these are the important themes. In fact, Dr. Shashi Tharoor's very important TED speech is there on the soft power. Okay, so those who are not knowing about the soft power, they can see and watch those soft power by Shashi Tharoor. TED पता है ना? TED. That's yes, that's YouTube के ऊपर जाके देख लो बस soft power by Shashi Tharoor. वो पहला ही आ जाएगा. ठीक है. TED is a platform from where different great peoples and great themes have been spoken. Okay, it's a platform for the leaders or those people who have significant thing to share to the world. Okay, so these are the themes that you should prepare. Now the last one, that is how to prepare IR. Okay, how to prepare IR is a conundrum, I would say, because there is no head, there is no tail, there is no मतलब कहाँ से start किया जाए. Okay, and it's a very big canvas. Now see, the thing is, one thing is for sure, okay, for last 4-5 years we have been seeing contemporary issues are being asked. Okay, so do not go too much into the history, but the thing is, I believe unless and until you know the history, little bit of history, you again cannot able to do the justice to the answer, because what sort of an answers you will write, MOU has been signed and not signed, if you do not know the theory and principles. Okay, so theory and principles should be the basis for writing the answers. Now where to get it from? Now first thing is that there is a very beautiful book, NCRT, that is World Politics, Contemporary World Politics करके एक बहुत ही मतलब beautiful I am saying, because there are a lot many schemes. It will generate a sort of interest. New NCRT, okay, Contemporary World Politics करके एक new NCRT है. So उसमें Cold War politics, contemporary politics, somewhere I have left about the name also. That's an important organization. So Cold War में जो ये institutions बने हुए हैं, WTO, World Bank, IMF, United Nations Security Council, okay, and what has been the dynamics of this for last 60 years, and what is their relevance in contemporary time. Okay, today that was the time where the country like India was just got decolonized. So they were not wielding the power in these institutions, but now 65 years down the line, there is a rise of China, there is a rise of India, Brazil, and etc. And these are the aspirational members for the United Nations Security Council. Post this global economic meltdown, there has been a lot of significance with respect to the powers of East. So that's we call that 21st century belongs to the India and China, or for that matter, the East is going to play a significant role and not just the West. So in this context, what revision require in the international institution? Now the West is unrelenting with respect to the revision, because nobody wants the dilution of power. Okay, and because of there is a dragging the feet on the revision of this institution, the East have started independent institutions like the BRICS is one institution which represent that. IPSA is another institution. IPSA is India, Brazil, and South Africa. Okay, that is what we call a South-South cooperation. In fact, that's the theme of North-South divide and South-South cooperation. So what are the emerging themes of South-South cooperation? We also haven't given up completely on the IMF and World Bank. So there are themes with respect to, that is reforms of IMF and World Bank. WTO has almost been now a failure. What is the Doha round, why it is not moving forward? Since it was not moving forward, now there are regional alliances such as RCEP, you have this Trans-Pacific Cooperation, Transatlantic is now going to be doomed because Donald Trump do not want it. Okay, that's a good news for the India otherwise, because the standards which were there for the Transatlantic was very, very high. In fact, they were far beyond the WTO standards. So as a developing country, we could not have benefited from that. But there are other negative dynamics also. It does not mean that this passing of the statement ki dissolution is important for India. Does not mean that Donald Trump administration is important for India, because it also adopts the protectionist measures. So also you should remember that you should not make any over archaic statement in UPSC. This is good and this is bad completely, because everything has its shades. Maybe if that dissolution of transatlantic may be useful, if he adopts the protectionist policy, then it is going to affect our IT sector also. So there are different shades that you are going to find in different. So this is how you have to prepare. Now, yes, the book which I was mentioning about the resources, first is about IR, say NCRT, that is Contemporary World Politics. Second, there is a IGNU material which is also available, although it is a old material, but you will get some of the context. Because कई बार aspirants में ये doubt रहता है कि from where should I read from, because I do not understand the the Hindu articles, because it talks about deterrence, it talks about strategic depth, it talks about Frankenstein monster, it talks about this, it talks about that. So very catchy words are being used. So this IGNU material as well as this will suffice the purpose. And obviously the third is about internet source. Use it judiciously, I would say, okay, because there is a lot of chance of misusing or getting carried away through the internet. So what is required, you can also take an internet के ऊपर काफी सारा material available हो गया. See, the ultimately in UPSC inquisitiveness is also important. Curiosity and inquisitiveness. If you are inquisitive about something, so you will certainly able to find the ways, because internet has been a biggest leveler of information. So no matter wherever you are, if you have an smartphones and if you have that inquisitiveness, then I think that you are not behind the rest of the others. Okay, so it depends upon your curiosity, but then you should know that where and what to read it from. जैसे IDS से करके एक website है, MEA की website है, okay, then overseas ministry की website है. So these are the most important one for the IR point of view. IDSA, you know, okay, IDSA is the most important, where you will get the wonderful articles on the IR. Apart from that, MEA and rest of the other conventional material. Now the last is about, see, these are the conventional aspects. That is internet, obviously a contemporary one. Now let's come to this questions. Questions that are being asked in UPSC in IR is basically in GS are many contemporary in nature. So therefore you need to keep yourself updated. Having done this exercise of basic and the fundamentals, you should now focus upon more on the contemporary aspects. Now contemporary aspect, where should you do from that? This any kind of monthly magazines that you are using, उसमें जो IR का part रहेगा, जैसे Vision India and Vision IAS, this comes up with the monthly magazine. So obviously you should go with this वो जो IR का part है. फिर दूसरा है कि ये जो 365 material आ रहा है, okay, mains 365, that is a compiled form. So those material, contemporary material you should keep, because the question will be framed. Although the question will not be completely contemporary, it has a tinge of the theoretical and base framework. So your answer should be a mix of both. It should be both theory part as well as the contemporary part. The Hindu obviously is an wherever you feel the article, so you should come up with it. Okay, so this is about from the side of how to go about it. And the last is about if you want any reference book, okay, beyond this thing, okay, then there are 3 good books on India's foreign policy. One is by Rajiv Sikri, okay, India's foreign policy opportunities and challenges, by Rajiv Sikri. Okay, the another book is by Dr. Shashi Tharoor, that is a Pax Indica, and there is a book by David Mellon, Can Elephant Dance? Okay, so that's 3 important books. If this not a mandatory reading again, okay, this is not a mandatory reading. Okay, you can pick up Rajiv Sikri or Shashi Tharoor. That's in fact for India's foreign policy in Indian world. If you can go ahead with it, it's fine. Otherwise, just read NCRT, read this notes. Obviously, if you are in the class, so most of the themes will be done in the class. Those who are joining for the mains course, as I have been told that course is going to launch, so for the ethics and 4th IR. Is there any question? Please ask, otherwise I'll leave with mail, because we have already running short of time. India and diaspora, really there is no material available. Any institution's booklet, like I know that Vision IAS has a specific separate booklet on India and diaspora. So if you are joining, you will get it, otherwise you will find it in market also. Okay, उसके ऊपर है. एक वैसे वर्ल्ड फोकस करके एक मैगजीन है. World Focus, I believe that you should not read it if you don't have the optional. But this last 2 World Focus are important, because उसमें summary दी गई है. Okay, contemporary issues की. World Focus 2 series में जो आया हुआ है, November और December वाला. November और December में all the issues are included. But if you see the other World Focus monthly from January to November, December, they generally deal with only one issue. Like say for example, issue of SARC. So in issue of SARC, you will get 20 odd articles. So 20 odd articles for the UPSC aspirant only on one subject, then you are doomed. Okay, because we have lot many things to cover. So that's how you have to go ahead with it. Yes, any other question? Any other question? Okay, yes, last. What is the concept of nation state? Again, you are asking me such kind of questions which requires a lot of discussion. See, the nation state is पहले एक सिटी स्टेट करके कॉन्सेप्ट था. ओके, ग्रीक सिटी स्टेट्स. ग्रीक सिटी स्टेट्स में एथेंस, स्पार्टा, ये नाम सुने होंगे आपने ग्रीक में. ओके, सो जैसे सिंगापुर सिटी स्टेट है, तो एक सिटी जो है वो स्टेट था इंटरनेशनल अफेयर्स में. योर पॉलिटिकल यूनिट इज अ सिटी, but now we have evolved from city state to nation state. Now city is no more a state principle. State is which has four characters. Okay, four characters, which has a territory, which has a specified population, which has a sovereign state, and it has what is the fourth one? Governance. Okay, so these are the aspects. So nation state matlab we live in an era where the universal government is absent. World government nahi hai. United Nation is not a world government. Do not mix up with United Nation with world government. United Nation is a platform on where the nation state deliberate and discuss for the cooperation. Okay, so which is the most important supreme entity in the world is a nation or a country for a particular people. So for me, I will be governed not by the world government. I will be governed by the India's rules and regulations. So that is the nation state concept. And nation state ke beyond agar ye boundaries hai, these boundaries, if they are getting blurred, then we are moving more towards the world government. If there will be only one government. Now the boundaries are not that strong the way they were strong in First World War and Second World War. Now they are getting blurred, but they are not disappeared completely. Blurred matlab because of globalization there is a interconnectedness. Are you understanding? So, but still, even if the interconnectedness is there, there is still absence of world government. So every country and their government is the important one, and the sovereignty as a principle is the most important one in international politics. Okay, so that's about the nation state. So that is from my side. We are running short of time, so I'll leave with mail if you have any problem. Otherwise, we have a long session today. Since it was the first, so it got slightly extended. Okay, so just you can mail on this Dr. Suraj Suryavanshi @gmail.com. Okay, dr.suraj.suryavanshi @gmail.com. This is like those who are joining, please do not mail because we are going to have an extended session. Okay, so they can meet me personally later on. But if you are not joining, or for that matter, it's for everyone. Okay, if you have any doubt. Okay, thank you so much.